Hey guys, it's Daniel. Welcome back.
So, you've mentioned before that Vinnie and Dime were funny guys. Are there any funny experiences you guys had with the Abbott brothers that stick out to you in particular?
So, Sterling, I want you to tell the story, if you don't mind, because you do it so well. But I want you to tell the story about lingo and me misunderstanding what was being said.
Right.
And, how all of that kind of came together.
All right. Well, as most people know from watching some of the home videos, Dime was a very unique character. And, well, he kind of had his own language. He had his own way of speaking and expressing himself. And he had a lot of code words and nicknames for things that aren't normal English 101 nomenclature kind of stuff, the Queen's English, so to speak. And he brought in a Roland 201 Space Echo tape echo unit one day, which is a very sought after, unique sounding piece of gear. Nothing else on earth sounds like this thing. Okay. And it's a delay unit that uses a loop of tape instead of electronic components like they do now, like a guitar foot pedal. But yeah, it's a guitar effects unit. You plug into it and it gives you a delay or an echo. And he goes, "All right, man, we're gonna go eat. You and Tim clean this thing up. We'll be back. We're gonna use it." And so we were like, "Okay, let's go clean it up." So me and Tim went into the control room and we got our alcohol and we're going to literally get inside the thing and get to the tape mechanisms and the loop cartridge that's in there and clean it up.
Now, by the way, when he says alcohol, we're talking rubbing alcohol.
Rubbing alcohol.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Clean the tape heads on the looper. Okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. The rubbing alcohol. And so, yeah, we get in there and Tim takes this cartridge apart with a screwdriver because it's the only cartridge we have. And he takes the loop out and he measures it and he puts a brand new piece of tape, the exact same length inside the cartridge. And we clean the tape heads and the rollers and all the stuff that's in this little machine. And they come back from dinner and they're ready to use this thing. And Dime's like, "All right, did you get that thing cleaned up, ready to go?" And we're like, "Yeah," and we're all proud and beaming and happy that, yeah, we did exactly what you said. And so he's like, "What's this?" Because the tape loop and the alcohol and the cotton swabs and everything were laying on the table right beside it. And he said, "Well, that's the old tape loop. And that's the dirty Q-tips and from cleaning the machine up," like you said. And he goes, "Oh, no, man. I meant like take it in there and just hook it up and make sure it works. I didn't want you to clean it because some of that dirt might make something sound really cool." And so that was our first lesson in what we affectionately titled Dimebonics.
Dimebonics.
He literally had a code word for everything.
That's funny.
And so it took us about a month of just hanging out with him to learn what he spoke, what the words meant. And some of them were inside jokes. Some of them were like, "Oh, I could see that," and kind of practical and logical. But most of it was like inside jokes. Like if you were to lift something and take it to the next room, he would call that, "Hey man, will you Andrew that for me?"
Will you Andrew that?
Will you Andrew that?
Oh, okay.
So like if he were to take his guitar, will you Andrew that guitar for me? It means carry it into the other room. Or pick it up and actually haul it with you, because one of the guys that was the helper, his name was Andrew, and that's what he did. He went around Andrewing things, and taking care of things and grabbing luggage and things like this. And so that, just to give you an example of a dimebonic. So yeah, clean this up meant, hey man, take this situation and make it clean, make it work.
Hook it up all ready to go. Yes.
And get it ready to go. Clean this up, go go. Hey, go blow this up. He means like take a picture or record it, and so, yeah, that was our first lesson in Dimebonics was clean this up.
So here's the real question. Did you guys actually have to blow something up for him?
We had some fun with some fireworks every now and then in the warehouse, or a brick or two, throwing it through a TV screen. But, yeah, we were always blowing shit up.
That is awesome. So I mean, when it came to Dimebag's language, the thing is, did it evolve with time? Like, did new words get added in?
Yeah, even before he died, there were new words that would make their way into the little dictionary in our heads. You know, so yeah, it was always evolving. Always, it didn't evolve so much as we still used all those other terms, but they would just get added to. You know, like the Oxford Dictionary adds a couple of words every year. You know, a couple of new words like streaming or whatever.
Yeah, I hear you. But would the old words change meaning, or would they always stay the same?
No, the same.
Always stayed the same.
Okay,
Always
cool.
stay the same. And so there was this language that just developed. And it was an inside thing. You know, if you were part of it, you knew what it meant. And if you didn't, you were on the side going, what are they talking about? You know, so that was our little secret, I guess, our little fun inside jokes.
That's hilarious.
And, you know, and everybody had their names.
Oh yeah.
Mine was Timmy Tooth.
Yep. The first one you got hit with. I had many. I ended up with like 20 nicknames.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I used to get asked, what exactly does Timmy Tooth mean? And there were two versions to all of that.
Oh, yeah?
Right. Right. There was some duality to just about everything in that camp.
That's
absolutely. Funny. You know, a little discretion, you know, in case we got kids around. Well, Timmy Tooth was a cartoon character that, you know, he carried around a toothbrush and he brushed his teeth. But we knew what Timmy Tooth really was.
The whole black tooth thing.
The whole black tooth thing. So literally for about, what was it, 7 months?
6 months.
I was the guy who wore the black tooth.
That's cool.
And yeah, I mean, it was one of those things to where you either get on board with it or, yeah, you're going to be left in the dust.
Christmas time was quite fun because everybody gave everyone gifts, and they were all bullshit gifts. Like, you know, you could just, oh, what is this? Oh, it's a plastic ring that came from the Dollar General store. Yeah, man. Saw that, thought of you, boom, here you go. So yeah, great memories like that. You know, just kind of, we're not in the record mode, but we're here, and let's have some fun while we're here, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Who was the funniest of the four?
Oh, without question, Dime.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That guy, I'm telling you, he was always full of energy, always full of just, come on, man, let's go do this. Let's get this done. The beer that Dime always drank was Coors Light.
Coors Light, okay.
Coors Light, nothing but. I will say that we kept the bar stocked. That was also, you know, kind of a part of Sterling's and my daily duties. I never was really one of those kind of guys, but I will say I did learn how to drink. Yeah, I definitely learned how to do that.
Is there any one memory in particular from your time with Pantera that's special for you?
I do. It's not the whole band. And this is going to sound crazy, but my one special memory was I had a 35 millimeter film camera with me, black and white film in the camera. We were on a break. Dimebag was sitting at the producer's desk in the control room, Studio A, Dallas Sound Lab, and he had picks, and they were sitting on the producer's desk, and he picked them up, and I go, Darrell, this would be so cool if you would take those pics and throw them up in the air and let me see if I can take a picture of this. And he did, and he threw them up, and I snapped the photo, got the film back, and it's an amazing picture. The pics are suspended in the air, and he is just watching the pics. And Daniel, to this day, I took that picture and I put it away, and I can't find it. And I even asked Sterling if I should, you know, like post it at some point. And he goes, dude, I don't know. If that's your one really good memory of Dimebag, you might just hold off. And now I can't find it.
Dude, you got to find that pic.
And, you know, we had, that record took place through Halloween. So that was a favorite time for everybody. And we went through Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that stuff.
So in terms of their personalities, what was similar and what was different between Vinnie Paul and Dimebag?
Wow. Both very artistic, both very heavily artistic. Gosh. Yeah. I would say Vinnie was more the businessman than Dime. Vinnie was always checking numbers, always, making for sure things were on point. So even in like business dealings, let's say maybe purchasing or exchanging a piece of gear, Vinnie Paul was always at the helm of all of that, kind of the, if you will, kind of the engineer. They called him Riggs because he could always rig. If it wasn't working very well, he could always rig it to where it would work long enough to to get what we needed from it, stuff like that. But brothers, very, very similar in ways, but very different in others. Yeah. I would say Vinnie was the businessman type more than Dime.
Being from Texas, like the Abbott brothers and Rex Brown, did that add an extra layer to your relationship with them, so to speak? And also, you've worked with musicians from every genre, so what was it like working with a metal band as intense as Pantera?
I didn't really feel like I was a metal engineer until I got to participate with Pantera. It's like, oh my gosh. But you also have to remember, I'm so much older than these guys are. And I watched these guys grow up when they were 14, 15 years old playing at, Six Flags over Texas in front of 1,000, 1,500 screaming kids. So I literally have gotten to watch these guys grow from, hairband with spandex pants, teenagers growing into the men that they were and are. And, they just, as far as the Abbott brothers are concerned, they're just good Texas boys. Good Texas boys. And Rex Brown too. Rex himself, when we first met, apparently he had done a little bit of some homework, and he asked me, he goes, so do you know a certain person? And he asked me if I knew him, and I said, well, yeah, he's a really good friend of mine. He goes, man, I love that guy. I just love that guy. If you see him, tell him I said hey. And you know what? I get to do that. I get to do that on occasion. I get to see the same guy that he was talking about. But again, these guys, I don't know any other way to say it other than we just simply had fun. It was never 1,000% out of control. Notice I said 1,000% out of control. It was never 1,000% out of control. It was always contained, and we somehow managed to always get what needed to get done for that day. It always got done. But I never truly felt like I earned my metal wings until I got to be with those guys and get to literally see a master engineer, producer of Terry Dade, who, quite honestly, he was the mother hen of everybody. He was kind of the den mother, if you will, of everybody, including myself and Sterling. And it's like, look, guys, y'all need to be responsible. You can't be drinking and driving. And he got real serious with us at one point, and that was that, look, if anything happens to any one of you guys, this game is over, and you need to realize that. And so I think that was probably one of the biggest defining moments for me, was to watch a producer who is, for lack of better wording, he's in control, but it's still like wrangling cats when you're talking about a band like Pantera. Mm-hmm. But that was a defining moment for me when he goes, you need to realize that if anyone messes up and something happens, then that affects everybody. And so, we all tried to listen to that word of advice. And I also, I confided in Terry quite a bit as well. Sometimes we would go to certain places and I couldn't find Terry. And I got next to him at one point and I go, man, every time we go somewhere and I look around and I can't find you, where are you? And he goes, I'm in a corner. And I suggest you get in one too. I suggest you find one and get in it too. Okay. But those are probably my two biggest moments. And he Terry told me, he goes, look, you're a married man. You know that Dime carries that video camera around with him everywhere. You don't want to wind up somewhere that you don't need to be. And I said, I understand. I completely understand. So,
as someone who's not from Texas, when I think of Texas guitar players, for me, the first two people I think of are Dimebag Darrell and Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm not sure if you have any history with Stevie Ray Vaughan, but in your opinion, who is bigger in Texas?
Oh boy, that was a very, very hard question to answer. So yes, I have had some time with Stevie Ray when he was here. Also came out of Dallas Lab, the couple of records came out of there. Boy, that's a tough one because everybody loves Stevie Ray, but everybody loves Dime too. Mm-hmm. That is a real good question. Gosh, man, I'm going to chicken out and I'm going to say 50-50.
Hey, fair enough.
Not everybody loves blues. Not everybody loves metal. But I think between the two, there's no denying that, those are two guitar greats that, gosh, I'm just heartbroken over the fact that both of them are gone.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But even if you like some of the more melodic Pantera stuff, you can hear elements of blues in there. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely think there's an influence for sure. Now, of course, one of the distinguishing elements between Dimebag Darrell and Stevie Ray Vaughan is that Dimebag was a much heavier guitar player and that Dimebag loved to play in drop tuning. If you look at a record like The Great Southern Trendkill, for instance, there's drop tuning everywhere. I know you didn't work on that particular record, but would you happen to know why Pantera went in that musical direction for The Great Southern Trendkill?
Great question. You know what? I think it might have just been that the overall vibe that drop tuning did for them made it even heavier for them. I don't think it was a hey, we're going to follow suit with what everybody else is doing kind of thing. I think it was, this is where we're at, and this is how we're going to do it. Sterling would probably be a real good guy for me to ask that question to, what inspired the drop tuning for all of that. You also have to remember, Daniel, that there was a lot of transpiring that was going on with all this stuff, and so maybe a lot of that could have had to do, we need to break out of this particular mold that we're in right now, go explore some other territory. They were very, very brave about, doing that kind of thing.